Hello everybody, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Richard and I am a mainline train driver based in the southeast of England and a wannabe YouTuber. And it is absolutely fantastic to have you with me today for a run on the brilliant Dovetail Games Train Sim Worlds 2 London Commuter route. So let's get started and load up the game. Look at that, 1,316 timetable options on this route. It's absolutely epic. So we're going to have a run in the class 377, partly because this is one of the trains I used to drive on this particular route as a mainline driver. We'd make it nice and easy. We'll have a nice sunny run, I think, just because it looks better on the stream. The weather effects in this are really good, but yeah, it just looks a bit better on the stream if we have a nice sunny run. I think we'll do a Brighton to London run. What should we do? 1 Alpha 49, Brighton to London Victoria. Let's give that one a go. Drive this southern service from Brighton to London Victoria. Class 377, 361.4 tonnes, 8 coaches, 178.4 yards. And we are in, I think we're in platform 3 at Brighton by the looks of it. Anyway, let's get set up. Key in. What I will do is, because I like to drive with the safety systems turned on, so I'm going to go over to the safety systems panel and I am just going to reinstate all of the safety systems. And sit back in the chair. So, into neutral. Cancel our AWS, you can use the Q key for that, or we can press the button. And unlock doors. It is very good practice to unlock the doors. If you have an offside door release like we have here, it's very good practice to get up out the chair and actually open them on the offside. So we're going to set our lights as well to day running, tail lights to the off position, and we are all ready to go. Wait until 17:33 for our departure. We've got a green and we've got an M. There we go, 17:33, lock the doors. So we've got interlock, we've got a green, and we've got an M in the theatre box, which is for the main line. So, into forward, and off we go. Now you might have noticed a little cheeky edit there, and that's because I've been told that this video is to be no longer than an hour. And the route we're running is 1 hour 4 minutes, so there's going to be a couple of little cheeky edits in. See if you can spot them all. So we're 15 miles an hour leaving Brighton. We've got Lovers Walk Depot and the excellent 313. That is a lovely train in this game. Really enjoy driving that one. And the other train featured in this route on the left there, the Class 387. So it's waiting for the back of the train to clear the 40 board there and we can accelerate. So we're stopping at Hassocks, Burgess Hill, Haywards Heath, Gatwick Airport, East Croydon, Clapham Junction and London Victoria. So our first stop is Hassocks and we're going up to 40s. Taking power notch 2, the speed limit will increase again to 75 just before Preston Park. So rather than take power notch 4, get up to 40 and then shut off, we just take power notch 2. Just makes the acceleration a little bit more smoother for the passengers. Just going past our 75 board there. And off we go. Waiting for the back of the train to clear. And power notch 4. So for those of you who haven't seen my content before, I am a freight train driver based in the southeast of England. I used to be a passenger train driver. I used to work for the the company that operate blue passenger trains from Hastings. I've been on the railway for about 15 years, driving for about 12 years in various different roles: shunter driver, mainline driver, as I said, freight driver, passenger driver, platform staff. So I've been around a bit, got a fair bit of railway knowledge. Hopefully I can pass some of that on to you during the course of the stream. So we've just gone through Preston Park Station. Got the berthing sidings on our left. Quite often Class 700 stabled in there these days. So I'm going to take the power back to power notch 2. Just to kind of hold the speed there. Although the limit's 75, we kind of want to allow a little bit of margin for error. If we've got a 75 limit and we're always staying tight to the limits, then if you creep over a bit because you're going downhill slightly, it doesn't leave you with much room for error. Yes, we do like to be a little bit under. Just coming round to Patcham Tunnel. There's our 90. Give a power notch 4, get the speed up. So we pass under the A27 Brighton bypass, and we've got the A23, which is the main road from Brighton up to the M25 and Croydon, just coming up on our right hand side. I think I've just missed it. I do normally, when I'm streaming, I drive with the heads-up display turned on, just because it's a bit easier for everyone to see what's going on, what power notch, what speed we're doing, etc, etc. But I think when Dovetail Games released this route, the real test for me was, as a mainline driver that actually signs this route and drives this route, the mainline test, the test for me was whether I could actually get on this route and drive it and stop at all the stations without using the heads-up display. And first time I played it, I done it on a live stream, and I'm pleased to say the route is bang on. It is really good. So just coming into Clayton Tunnel now. Clayton Tunnel was actually the scene of quite a horrific train crash many years ago, and it's reputedly haunted, as a number of railway tunnels supposedly are. And I've actually heard stories from fellow drivers that they've seen apparitions in the tunnel. Nothing to report on my journeys, but yeah, quite interesting. It's got a lovely, lovely grand exterior as well, which we should see as we come out. Absolutely beautiful. Just as we drop out the tunnel, we want to be getting some braking for hassocks. That'll be rather embarrassing, having said that I signed the route and how good it is if I then overshoot the station. We do that a lot in the streams. We overshoot stations and spad and derail. I always say to the people, I do drive better in real life than what I do on the game. I promise. So generally speaking, we're using brake step 1, brake step 2 when we come into stations. We try not to use brake step 3. We need to keep that in reserve. I'll explain why a little bit more in a minute. So we are an 8-car train. We are looking for the 8-car marker. And you always want to try and do your final stop in brake step 1 so you don't get a nasty sort of jolt as you come to a stand. That's not too bad, that's pretty close, we'll take that. So when I stop the train, my procedure is going to brake step 3 into neutral, and I'm checking we've got 8 carriages, we're on the 8 car mark, and the platform is on my left. Open the doors. So we're running a few seconds late, but nothing too drastic at the moment. It's probably because I come out of Brighton a little bit slowly. So we are into forward. Burgess Hill is our next station stop. So pulling away from stations, if we're running on green signals and we're on a dry rail, power notch 4 would be the way I'd pull away. If you've got a wet rail, then you'd probably power notch 2 and then sort of increase 3 and 4. If it's a really wet rail, then power notch 1, get it moving. But if you're on green signals, there's no reason why you can't go straight into power notch 4. There's no reason on a 377 to notch up the train. So not too far to Burgess Hill. So I want to get the train up to about 65 miles an hour and then I'm going to shut off and coast. Actually, there's a coasting board on the left, a diamond shaped board on the left, so I'm actually going to shut off now. 63, close enough. And we give the driver a wave on the other side. Do train drivers wave at each other as we go past? Yes, we do. Sometimes the other drivers don't wave back. But I always give a friendly wave. We're a friendly bunch, generally speaking. So about a mile out, I'm going to drop brake step 1 in for Burgess Hill. I'm actually going to take that back, actually. I think I've put the brakes in a little bit too early for the Burgess Hill there. Probably way too early, to be fair. There we go, we'll give it some brake now. So as you can see by the signal on the right there, the Brighton main line is fitted with SIMBIDs, which is simplified bi-directional signalling. It's fitted all the way up to Balkan Tunnel Junction, I believe. So we are an 8-car train, we are looking for the 8-car mark. Bit of brake step 2 just to bring her in. I think we're going to need a little bit of 3 there, which is not good driving on my part. Back to 2 and then back to 1 for the final stop so we don't get that jolt. So brake step 3 into neutral, 8-car train, S-car mark, platform on the left. We're 25 seconds down, but we're not too bad. Let's get those doors closed. I'm going to forward in preparation. And we've got interlock, blue light there, power notch 4, off we go. Green signal ahead. We are off to Haywards Heath with our 8-car train. So one of the most common incidents for passenger train drivers to be involved in is what's known as a stop short incident. So it's where you've got an 8 or a 12-car train and you stop on the 4-car marker. So we use an 8-car train, for example. If I've got an 8-car train and I stop on the 4-car marker, potentially I've got 4 carriages hanging off the end of the platform. If you then open the doors with 4 carriages hanging off the end of the platform, there is the potential for someone to open the doors expecting a platform to be there and fall onto the tracks, which is obviously not something we want to happen. So that's why I'm always saying 8-car train, 8 on the 8-car mark. Especially during the journey on the Brighton main line, a lot of trains join up at Haywards Heath to other trains and divide at Haywards Heath. So your formation is changing on route. So it's a very good idea just to keep track of what's going on. So we've just gone across Keema Junction and we are coming through Withersfield Station. Our speed limit is 90 miles an hour. Yeah, the other type of incident is wrong side door releases. So it's when you come into a station and the platform's on either the right or the left. 9 times out of 10 the platform will be on the left. So you kind of get into a routine. You come into a station, doors on the left, open, doors on the left, open, doors on the left, open. And you can almost fall into a pattern of like muscle memory. And what will happen is you'll pull into a station and the doors will be on the right. But you'll be kind of not thinking properly. I mean, there could be other things happening. So you'll come into a platform, you open the doors on the left and, you shouldn't have done that. The doors are on the right, operational incident. And again, although, you know, you could say it'll never happen, but that there is potential for then someone to open the doors on the wrong side and fall out the train. So that's why I'm always checking. You know, they used to call it the 3-step check, which when you stop your train, you're checking your formation, checking what side your platform's on, just making sure you're opening the doors on the right side and you're stopped in the right place. So there's our coasting board and a number 3 sandlight marker coming towards Haywards Heath. Yes, we've just gone across Keema Junction, which was the junction just before Withersfield. The line from there goes down to Plumpton Cooksbridge and joins up with the East Coastway route at Lewes. So I've shut off, so the speed's coming down quite nicely there. AWS magnet for the signal, I'm just going to drop her into brake step 1. I've actually changed my mind, I'm going to go into brake step 2. But we are coming in pretty fast. If we were going into any of the loops here, it'd be 40 miles an hour through the points at Haywards Heath. So if we had the route indicators. That's a really nice touch by Dovetail Games having that abandoned wagon there, because that is there in real life and has been for many years. Yeah, could have got away with brake step 1. Slowed down a bit too fast there. He says going into 2. And probably going into 3. It's because I was trying to show you the wagon. That's my excuse and I'm sticking to it. Back to 2. The wagon have released that because we're going a bit slow. And we want back to 1 for the stop. Oh, almost perfect. So step 3 neutral, 8 on the train on the My Track screen there, 8 on the platform, it's just behind the train, and doors on the left. Green signal, we are on time, lock doors. Into forward in preparation. We've got interlock and we are good to go. Straight into power notch 4. We are off to Gatwick Airport with our 8-car train. Loving the little flowers on the platform at Haywards Heath there. Very colourful. So you can see the marker boards coming up on the left. They are countdown markers for the signal. So at some locations where you've got high risk signals, high risk of SPAD, or that sort of thing, or like in this case you could easily misread the signal because there's 3 signals on the gantry. They sometimes put countdown markers in just to aid you with your distance judgment. So we are 90 miles an hour now all the way down to Balkan Tunnel. So we're just going over what is called Copyhold Junction. Copyhold Junction. And the line to our extreme right, which we'll see branch off in a minute, is the Ardingly branch, down to the Ardingly Stone Terminal. Just goes off down to our right hand side there that you can see. So we're just coming up to the beautiful Ooze Valley Viaduct, which requires an outside shot. So let's get ready for the outside shot. I'm not very good with the free cam. I need to kind of work on it. The draw distance is incredible. The detailing on the draw distance is really very good on this. Look at that, stunning, absolutely stunning. Ah, you know what I've done? Being outside the train, looking at the outside views. That's not good, is it? Oh, dear oh dear. Right. This is what happens all the time. This is what happens all the time. It's all part of the fun. Welcome to one of Richard's videos. Off we go. Yeah, no, because I was on the outside view and I've got the safety systems turned on, I kind of missed the driver safety device pedal going off. Which does lead me actually into... I suppose we could talk about the driver safety device and the vigilance device as well, briefly. So on most trains, the driver safety device is now a pedal, as you can see there. It used to be called the dead man's handle, traditionally. And the idea was you have to keep the handle continuously pressed down. Now you have to keep your foot continuously on the pedal. And if you don't, the emergency brakes come on. The problem is, if you're that way inclined, you could get something a little bit heavy and put it on the pedal, or back in the olden days on the slam door units, drivers used to hang their bags on the handle to keep it pressed down. You could then go and to the other side of the cab, make yourself a cup of tea. Train drivers never do anything like that, I promise you, it doesn't happen. So in order to combat that, you've now got something called the Vigilance Device. So you need to keep your foot on the driver safety device pedal at all times, but if you don't touch the controls, say for example we're travelling along now, if I don't touch the controls for a period of more than 60 seconds, something called the Vigilance Alarm will go off. And what that means is, hey, you know, you haven't touched the controls for a long time, are you still here? So what you'll need to do is you need to lift your foot off the pedal and push it back down again, and that just acknowledges that you're still in the cab. It's just gone off there as I was talking about it. So the idea of that is, obviously, you can't then wedge anything on the pedal to keep it held down, which is great. And if anything has happened to you and you slumped over and you're still on the pedal, after 60 seconds the alarm's still going to sound. If you don't reset the alarm, the Vigilance Alarm, or you take your foot off the DSD pedal, incidentally I will mention, if you do lift your foot off the DSD pedal, you've got 7 seconds to put it back on before the emergency brakes come on. It won't just happen sort of straight away. Balkan Station you've just gone through. It won't happen straight away. You've got 7 seconds to put your foot back down on the pedal. But if you don't put your foot back down on the pedal, the emergency brakes will come on. Then what will happen is, after a period of time, your GSMR radio here will start beeping at you. You get like a beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop sort of noise going off. No, it's not actually. It's more of a da 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 da. Yeah, free sound effects. And it will come up on the radio preparing DSD alarm. And if you don't, you then have to cancel that. If you don't cancel that, it will basically send... Oh, what's happened? What have we done now? It's happened again. Oh god, this is not happening. More driving, less talking, I think. Oh dear, oh dear. Right. Step 3, neutral, acknowledge, forward, off we go. Oh dear, twice in one journey. So what happens now is you get tea and biscuits with your manager when you get back, and you might get your P45. So basically, anyway, GSMR radio will come up with DSD alarm activated. If you don't cancel that, the radio will then send an alert to the signal box, and the signalman will get a warning that the DSD alarm's been activated. The signalman then has several options. They can actually make a PA announcement on the train through the radio. So the signaller sitting in the signal box can make a PA announcement for your train via the radio to ask if there's a conductor on the train, or ask if there's any member of staff on the train that's able to assist. Or they can ask a train that's coming in the opposite direction to stop and check that you're okay. Right, so we've just gone through Balkan Tunnel. We'll see if we can get to Gatwick Airport without any more dramas. Coming up on Balkan Tunnel Junction now. So our line speed has dropped to 80. We'll go back up to 90 once we clear the junction. So the position 1 route indicator would take us onto the up slow. We're staying on the up fast. I promise I'd drive better in real life than what I do on a stream. Right, so coming over the junction now, just gone past our 90 board. Many moons ago, the Brighton main line used to be 100 miles an hour from this point up to Redhill Tunnel. When Connex first took over the franchise back in, I want to say 1996, 1997, you had the Class 319 services operating the Brighton Express, they used to call it. It used to be Brighton, East Croydon, London, Victoria. It was like a 49-minute journey time or 39-minute journey time. And the 319s were re-geared to do 100 miles an hour, and the line speed was increased to 100 miles an hour from this point. But these days it's 90. So we're going past the Thameslink depot, Three Bridges Thameslink depot on our left and our right. If you were on the slow lines, your line speed would be dropping to 60 miles an hour just before Three Bridges, but on the fast lines we are good for 90 all the way through. A couple of things to point out as we come up to Three Bridges. Big building on your left there is, or right in front of you, is the Three Bridges Rail Operating Centre, which is the new signalling centre, and the building on your right there is Three Bridges Area Signalling Centre. So they are the signal boxes at Three Bridges. The electrical control operator, the ECO who's in charge of the third rail, is also at based at Three Bridges. So I'm just going to knock a little bit of brake on there because we're quite tight to that 90 and we're going downhill, so I'm just going to give us a little bit of room for error. Passing underneath the A23 at this point. And we can see the freight yard coming up on our left hand side. That is Crawley New Yard. Crawley New Yard Freight Terminal. Lovely aeroplane going past. Tinsley Green Junction just coming up. The various route indicators there. Position 1 would take us onto the up slow. Position 2 would take us onto the up slow loop, I believe it's called. So I'm going to put brake step 1 in just as we come across the junction. Incidentally, there used to be a station at Tinsley Green, which I believe was the original Gatwick Airport station. We're coming in way too fast there, so we're going to drop a bit of brake step 2 in. Nice aerial view of the runway and the airport there. I wouldn't say I'm an aviation geek, but I quite like the odd aeroplane. And I was lucky enough to be sat on a brake step free, bad driving. I was lucky enough to be sat on a ballast job in an engineering position right on the runway at Gatwick Airport a few months ago. So it was really nice watching the aeroplanes go over. Best seat in the house. Ooh, really bad driving on my part. Brake step free. Back to 1 for the stop though. Into 3, into neutral. We are an 8-car train. We are on the S-car mark and the platform is on the left. And we're now well late. We are 1 minute 30 late, roughly. Close the doors. Green signal. Into forward. And we are off to East Croydon via the Quarry lines. So we are 90 now, all the way up to just past Ellsford, just before Redhill Tunnel. That's quite nice there. As we've gone through the gap across the points, we've actually lost the traction current. It is possible in some locations where you could actually come through a gap in the conductor rail and stop in that gap and then not be able to go again. That's known as becoming gapped. So we're just coming through Hawley. So we're just coming up to Salford's. Freight terminal on the left is currently out of use as of today, but that was Salford's oil terminal. Just on the left there. So Salford's is only platforms on the slow lines. It's quite a steep uphill gradient as far as Redhill Tunnel, where we kind of start going downhill again. As a freight train driver, gradients play a huge part in your route knowledge. It's because of the weight of your train, gradients have a much greater effect on the way the train handles. Uphill gradients, you can kill your speed very quickly, and likewise downhill gradients, you can be creeping over the speed limit very quickly. You need to know, like if you're going downhill coming towards a red, you need to put that much more brake in. Likewise, some locations, if you're going uphill towards a red, don't put the brake in, just take the power off and let the gradient slow the train down. So I'm just going to shut off now, so we've got the 80 coming up round the corner at Ellsford as we go into Redhill Tunnel. That's Ellsford Station on our left there. Just going to drop a little bit of braking just to bring it down to that 80. A little bit more then. So as I said earlier, the line to our left goes up towards Redhill, and it will join onto this line further up at Stoke's Junction. So Redhill's a nice junction station. You've got a line that goes to Tunbridge, over to South Eastern, and there's another line as well known as the Surrey Hills line, which goes off from Redhill up towards Guildford and Reading. So we're back up to 90. The next station on this line is Pearly. If you were on the slow line, you'd be going through Redhill, Merston and Colston South. Featured on the London Commuter route is the Reigate branch, which is the first station on the aforementioned Surrey Hills route to Reading. The line is diesel primarily, except the section from Redhill to Reigate, which is third rail, and Reigate is modelled on the Dovetail Games route. So if you do the Reigate services, then you can run along the slow lines instead of the Quarry line that we're running along now. So if we look to our left in a few minutes, we should see Merston Station, which is on the slow lines. I might be looking a little bit too soon. We should see it just before we come across the M25, so you should be able to see it through there. Just about make it out down there, Merston Station. So we've just gone over the M25 motorway and we're coming into Quarry Tunnel, which takes us through the North Downs. So we're just passing over what's known as Starbridge, and if you look to our left, just down there, that is the slow line. So we are now to the left of the slow lines. Let's have a little bit of horn action. It's going to bring my speed down to 85 because we're quite steep downhill now. Beautiful. That just means it can creep up a little bit on its own. So we're coming through a section of railway track known as the Covered Way. When the line originally opened, this used to be a tunnel. I believe they had a few fall-ins on the tunnel, which is why they opened it up. But I'm not too sure on the exact history of that. So as the A23 runs to our left now, you can see the slow lines coming in on the right, and we are passing over what's known as Stoke's Nest Junction. The train to our left are on the Tattenham Corner line. The one on the left there waiting to go into Colston Town Station. The station you'll see to your left is Reedham, which is on the Tattenham Corner line, which is not modelled or included in this game. You can see Reedham just poking through there. So if we were on the slow lines, our speed limit would be dropping to 60 miles an hour at Pearly, but on the fast it stays at 90 all the way through to South Croydon. At Pearly, on the far side, you've got the lines, trying to get a good shot, you've got the lines that go to Tattenham and Caterham, and you've got the aggregates terminal at Pearly as well. Lovely bit of graffiti on the bridge there. It's really good attention to detail. I do like that. So we're just coming through Pearly Oaks and we are going to get an AWS warning for the 60-mile-an-hour speed. People walking far too close to the edge of the platform. So there'll be a road bridge coming up in just a second. Just there. That is a good place to get your brakes on for your 60. Our next station stop will be East Croydon. It's just coming up to South Croydon now. We might just need a little bit of brake step 2 to bring it in for that 60. We might be okay. The bridge is normally a pretty sound point. In real life, that's the braking point I would use, or would have used. I now only drive this route as a freight train driver. Yeah, look, there's your 60 and 60, pretty much bang on. That's what I mean. You know, in real life, when I used to drive this route as a passenger driver, I'd use that braking point, and then I've used it in the game, and it's just worked spot on. So, you know, that gives you some idea of how good the physics are. Right, so our next speed limit is 45 miles an hour. So all lines going into East Croydon are 45, with the exception of platform number 1, which has an additional 30 mile an hour around the corner. We've got position 1 route indicator on our next signal, which tells us we will be going into platform number 1, so we do need to get down to 30. So 2 yellows. That means our red is at the end of the platform at East Croydon. Yeah, so like I say, East Croydon, 45 all platforms, all crossovers are 25, with the exception of platform 1, which is 30. So now my main focus is red ahead. So I'm actually regulating my speed for the signal rather than the station stop. So on a red signal, we aim to be doing no more than 20 miles an hour across the AWS magnet, which is coming up. And we are an 8-car train heading for the 8-car mark. We have red ahead. Back to 1 for the final stop. And we'll be brake step 3. We're going to set the DRA because we're on a red signal, and we're going to go into neutral. Now what we're going to do, because the platform is on the offside, we are going to get up out the seat, we're going to walk across to the offside, and we're going to open the doors on the offside, because that is good practice. It's beautifully modelled, East Croydon. Absolutely beautifully modelled. It's a very nice station. I stand here for ages just watching the trains go past. Okay, our signals come off 2 yellows and green, so we're going to take our DRA back and we're going to close our doors. We're going to go into forward. Clapham Junction, platform 12. Green signal, we are off to Clapham Junction with our 12-car train. 8-car train, apologise. So you could just be led into it there. 8-car train. We are 45 miles an hour at the moment. Or we will be. The back's still on that 30. There we go. Now we're 45. We'll be going up to 60 in a few minutes. The train on our right is on the slow lines. So that train could be heading towards Selhurst on the slow lines, or it may go via London up to London Bridge. So we're now coming across... If I stop speeding, there we go. We're now coming across Windmill Bridge Junction. Position 4 route indicator would take us to London Bridge via Norwood Junction and Forest Hill. We're staying on the main line up to Selhurst. The line we're about to go over the top of just down there. Don't know if you saw that there. That is the line down to West Croydon. That then continues down to Sutton, amongst other places. So just going around the corner into Selhurst. Selhurst is also the home of the train care depot, which you can see there. And if you're a Crystal Palace fan, of course, Crystal Palace Football Club is at Selhurst. So we drop down quite steeply now towards Thornton Heath. So I'm just going to let the train take the strain. We are up to 70 miles an hour now, pretty much all the way to Clapham Junction. I'm just going to give that a little bit of power. And we're whizzing through Thornton Heath. Yeah, it's just keeping an eye on my speed there, making sure we don't creep up too much. One of the things I would absolutely love to see added into this route would be a class 455. And I know absolutely everyone's got their list of wants and what they'd like to see in the game and stuff. But I think, as far as I know, there's no metro services in this. So the stations we're going through now, we've just been through Norbury, so Thornton Heath, Norbury, up to London Victoria. Those are typically operated by class 455s. So it'd be really nice to have some 455s in it, so we can do some of the a 455, so we can do some of the metro services. So we've just been through Norbury. Like I said, we're now coming down to Streatham Common. So we're still 70 at the moment. We do get a 60 just before Balham. So just keeping an eye on my speed because it is picking up. Streatham Common Station. So the spur that you can see at the right there will take you up to Streatham Hill. Sorry, Streatham. We've just gone through Streatham Common. The spur will take you up to Streatham. And the line that you can see there to our left, now our right, will take you onto the down Portsmouth. So if you were to follow that route, you would end up once again at Sutton via Mitcham, or you could go via Tooting and Wimbledon. So I'm just going to keep power notch 2 in. I'm not going to sort of get it back up because we've got to drop down to 60 in a minute. Yeah, we're going downhill, so it's kind of picking up itself. We do start to climb as we get towards Balham. The gradient actually changes quite significantly. So just getting it down for the 60 as we come around the corner at Balham. Just about there. Perfect. And the line coming in from our right comes from Streatham Hill. So that's Streatham Hill Depot. Eventually that will take you to Crystal Palace. Beautiful as we come through Balham. You can see there the great change in gradient, really noticeable. Position 4 route indicator there will take you onto the up slow. If you are going onto the West London line, so if you want to go via Kensington Olympia and you want to go up to Wilston and the West Coast Main Line, you will need to cross onto the slow at that signal. That is the last place you can cross over. So if you're going to Kensington or you're on the Milton Keynes service and you're still on the fast lines now, you're in trouble. So the gradient's really steep here as we come down through Wandsworth Common. And we are heading towards Clapham Junction. Clapham Junction was at one time Britain's busiest railway station. 2 yellows. So we always drive what they call we always drive defensively, defensive driving. So as soon as we encounter an adverse signal aspect, we do positive actions. So one of the positive actions is commentary driving, which is actually calling out the signal. 1 yellow. Another positive action is actually putting the brakes on. So we make sure we're taking positive actions when we go past these signals. So red ahead. So what we don't do is race towards red signals. There's absolutely no point in racing towards red signals. 1 yellow. So the lines coming in from our left is the South Western Main Line. That goes down towards Wimbledon and then on to Weybridge, Woking, Basingstoke, Southampton, all those good places. And the line going off to our right, as you see there as we come in platform 16, 17, where the other 375 is. No, there's no 375, sorry, 377. Yeah, far right lines is the West London lines. That'll take you down to Kensington Olympia and eventually down to onto the West Coast Main Line. We are 8 for the 8. Back to 1 for the stop. And there we go. Brake step 3, neutral. No need to set the DRA because we've got signals. 8 on the train, 8 on the platform, platform on the left. So 8:27:59, 8:28, bang on time. Timetable does seem to be quite generous considering we had those 2 emergency brake applications. And we should have gone into forward already, but we didn't. Never mind. Stop at London Victoria. We are 8 cars. We are leaving on a green. We are off to London Victoria. So I'm starting to drop a few frames around this area now. The track work is really, really intensive. So that's to be expected. It's very detailed and Dovetail have done a really, really good job. So position 1 route indicator there would take you across Pope Arch Junction, and that would take you down to a place called Longhedge Junction, which you can then access Stewart's Lane Depot from. But more importantly, you can get back up onto the South Eastern Main Line. So if you're going via the South Eastern Main Line, if you wanted to go down towards Denmark Hill, Bromley, places like that, you'd go down the junction on the left there. Superb modelling of Battersea Power Station as we come round. I do like the modelling on this. It's really good. It looks fantastic at night as well. If you do a night run, it does look really, really good. So, Battersea Park. And that is our final station before London Victoria. Very easy to misread the signal there. You can see it on the red. It's very easy to misread that. The danger would be, of course, if we were actually going on to the... if the signal on the left was green and R1 was red. Be a very real danger there of you reading the wrong signal and potential for a spad. So our limit's about to drop to 40, but we're in a good place for that at the moment. As we come across Grosvenor Bridge, beautiful modelling, beautiful. Again, if you drive this at night, it does look superb. The gradient coming down into Victoria is very severe. A lot of the steam charter services out of Victoria, one yellow, platform 15. A lot of the steam charter services out of London Victoria will actually have a banking engine on the back to help them. We need to get down for the 20. So it really hammers your braking performance because it is that steep. Oh, we got some southeastern services going in there as well on the right, the networker. Be interesting to see what score I'm going to get. We shall wait and see. We shall wait and see. So as a rule, coming into any terminal platform, you want to be doing no more than 50 miles an hour. Most companies will mandate that in their professional driving policy, 15 miles an hour at the platform ramps. We're actually arriving pretty good for time. I'm pretty impressed. The other thing that's not simulated but would be here in real life is TPWS loops, which is train protection warning system, and they are set for 10 miles an hour, so you want to be doing no more than 10 miles an hour coming towards the buffer stops. If you were in reality, you'd have an emergency brake application and it'd be tea and biscuits with your manager. And you want to aim to stop 6 foot away from the buffer stops. And we're going to do brake step 3. We're going to apply our DRA because the buffer stop is a red signal as far as we're concerned. Into neutral, 8 buffer stops, platform on the left. Okay, so we're going to go through the train shutdown procedure now. We're in brake step 3, DRA is set, neutral is set. We can put our lights to red. The 377 does have an auto tail light feature, but I did drive 377s, but I primarily used to drive 375s, which do not have an auto tail light feature on them, so I tend to use the tail lights as normal. Into off and key out. And the cab is shut down. Let's check our score. Oh, look at that. That's not too shabby. Not too shabby. We'll take that. Couple of little times we were sort of bang on the speed limit, but yes, nice kind of curves for the station stops. Yeah, I'll take that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So I do hope you've enjoyed this little run on the Dovetail Games London Commuter service for Train Sim World 2. It is a fantastic route, and if you haven't got it, I would highly recommend getting it. If you'd like to see more streams by me, I'd absolutely love to see you in the chat. You can visit my YouTube channel, youtube.com/dadrail. You can find me on social media, facebook.com/dadrail or twitter.com/dadrail, or visit my website or social media and there'll be a Discord link somewhere there. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure and hope to see you again soon.